Have you ever heard of a serpent so magnificent it bridged the heavens and the earth? In the vast and vibrant world of mythology, few realms are as rich and complex as Mesoamerican mythology. Although it's a field that remains relatively unexplored in many modern discussions, today's journey leads us directly into its colorful heart. Thanks to the requests of passionate followers, we dive into the story of one of Mesoamerica's most iconic deities, the rainbow-feathered serpent known as Quetzalcoatl. Before venturing further into the fascinating myths surrounding Quetzalcoatl, it's essential to touch upon an important aspect of understanding ancient mythology in general. A recurring misconception arises when people attempt to treat myths, stories told thousands of years ago, as if they follow the same narrative standards as modern books or films. In today's world, a story like Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone remains fixed from its publication date onwards. No matter when you read it, the story will stay consistent because it was penned by a single author and mass-produced identically for millions. But mythology is vastly different. These ancient tales were not confined to the pages of a book or a single storyteller's imagination. Instead, they lived through oral tradition, traveling from village to village, evolving with each retelling. Each storyteller would add, omit, or adapt elements according to local customs, beliefs, or the audience's needs. As a result, countless versions of the same myth emerged over time. That's why, when someone asks which version of a myth is the correct one, the honest answer is, they all are, each reflecting the culture and time in which it was told. To illustrate, imagine a future where people argue whether Harry Potter actually grew wings and turned into a dragon simply because a storyteller altered the tale. In mythology, such variations are not errors, but windows into how societies evolved, interacted, and saw their world. This important understanding is crucial as we approach the story of Quetzalcoatl, for he is the epitome of a deity whose story morphs depending on the region, period, and cultural needs of the people telling it. Who is Quetzalcoatl? Quetzalcoatl's name comes from the Nahuatl language, the tongue of the Aztecs. It's a combination of two words, Quetzal, referring to the brightly colored Quetzal bird known for its vibrant feathers, and Coatl, meaning serpent. Thus, Quetzalcoatl is the feathered serpent, a powerful symbol uniting sky and earth, heaven and nature. The earliest evidence of feathered serpent worship dates back as far as 400 BC to 600 AD, centered in the grand city of Teotihuacan. There, the pyramid of the feathered serpent was erected, showcasing the importance of this divine figure. Over centuries, Quetzalcoatl's worship spread across various civilizations, adapting to each new environment. By the period between 600 AD and 900 AD, his veneration expanded beyond Teotihuacan. Then, from 900 AD to around 1519 AD, his worship flourished even further, reaching the Cholula region. In Aztec culture, he was known as Quetzalcoatl, while in Mayan mythology, he was sometimes called Kukulkan, meaning essentially the same thing. Feathered serpent. Interestingly, the very first depictions of a feathered serpent come even earlier from the Olmec civilization, 1200 BC to 400 BC, where carvings showed beaked snakes flanked by Quetzal birds, perhaps a primitive precursor to Quetzalcoatl's legend. The many faces of Quetzalcoatl. Over the ages, Quetzalcoatl's character expanded beyond simple symbolism. Initially, he was associated with natural forces like wind, rain, and fertility. In some traditions, he was even credited as a creator god, forming the world and mankind. Later, narratives painted him as a patron of priests, scholars, merchants, and artisans. Depending on the region and the people, he could be seen as a benevolent god of learning, a serpentine monster, or a divine protector. His image ranged from a rainbow-colored feathered serpent soaring across the skies to a bearded human figure dressed in jade jewelry, blowing into tubes that created the winds. One of the most sacred myths involving Quetzalcoatl revolves around maize, the foundational crop of Mesoamerican civilization. According to legend, after creating a new race of humans, Quetzalcoatl and the other gods realized that their creation had no food. Not willing to let mankind perish, Quetzalcoatl journeyed in search of sustenance. He encountered a red ant carrying a grain of maize, a revelation that corn was hidden inside the mountain of sustenance. However, the entrance to the mountain was tiny, inaccessible to gods in their normal form. Using his cunning, Quetzalcoatl transformed into a small black ant and infiltrated the mountain. Inside, he found towering stacks of maize, which he harvested and returned to the gods to feed humanity. This story highlights why maize became sacred and why harvest rituals held immense significance to the Aztec and Mayan peoples. Corn was not merely food, it was a divine gift, a symbol of survival and divine generosity. Quetzalcoatl's influence beyond agriculture. Quetzalcoatl's legacy extended into realms of knowledge and science. He was believed to have brought humanity vital inventions such as the calendar, books, and even mathematics. Some traditions link him to the planet Venus, reinforcing his duality between the heavens and earth. Physically, Quetzalcoatl embodies this dual nature. His feathered wings signify flight, freedom, and celestial origins, while his serpentine form connects him to the earth, fertility, and grounded existence. This unique symbolism made him a relatable deity, a god who was powerful yet close to humanity. Remarkably, even in modern science, Quetzalcoatl's name survives. The dinosaur, Quetzalcoatlus, one of the largest known flying animals, was named after this mythological being, signifying the god's lasting influence. Conclusion: a living legacy. Quetzalcoatl stands as one of the most compelling examples of how mythology evolves, adapts, and survives through generations. His story is not fixed, it breathes, changes, and continues to inspire. Whether viewed as a feathered serpent bringing rain, a wise god of knowledge, or a hero offering food to mankind, Quetzalcoatl's many faces reflect the hopes, dreams, and fears of the people who worshipped him. As we uncover more variations of his myth, we appreciate not just the story itself, but the human need to tell, reshape, and live through stories. If you have encountered other interpretations or fascinating versions of Quetzalcoatl's legend, feel free to share them. Mythology is a dialogue across time, and every voice enriches the chorus. Stay curious, stay open-minded, and until next time, keep exploring the wonderful worlds of ancient myth.